Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's time now for us to join our Abuja studio to talk to Kola Ologbondiyan, National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. Kola, good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, morning show. Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Thank you. Others. Thank you. Well, first time we're seeing him this year, right? So Happy New Year to you as well. Year. But yesterday, you issued a statement reacting...
Happy New Year to you all. Yes. And don't forget, we should not forget that today is the Remembrance Day.
Armed Forces Remembrance Day.
For the Nigerian Army, and we remember those on the front, too.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we're wearing the poppycock.
At the front.
Yes.
Fight. Thank you very much.
You can see our poppycock. Yes. Anyway, yesterday, let's talk about what happened yesterday with the ruling of the Supreme Court in the matter of Imo State and the decision to annul the election of the PDP candidate, now former Governor Emeka Ihedioha, and to direct INEC, the Electoral Commission, to immediately issue Hope Uzodinma Senator with the certificate of return as the valid winner of the March 9 gubernatorial election in that state. You have issued a statement condemning it. Are you questioning the wisdom of the Supreme Court of Nigeria?
Well, for us, the People's Democratic Party, we have moved beyond questioning the wisdom of the Lord Justices. We are worried about how they arrived at a judicial coup against the people of Nigeria and as well as against our party that resonates with the people. It is strange to us how a candidate that came forth in an election will suddenly become the overall winner at the expense of the candidate that came first, at the expense of the candidate that came second, and at the expense of the candidate that came third. It is strange, and for us in the PDP, we consider this as a judicial coup against the people and against our party.
Okay, thank you. But then what are your thoughts on the actual proceedings? There have been claims by some quarters that the legal team to former Governor Ihedioha was remiss in certain aspects, that there were certain lapses, there was a cross-petition that was not filed. Have you been briefed by the legal arm of the PDP? Is any of this true?
Well, as at the last discussion that I had with the legal advisor of the party, Mr. Emmanuel Enoedem, he did not intimate me about the issues that you have just raised. And it will be totally strange to us that for a matter as important as the governor of a state, that our elected governor, whom the people chose on the day of the election, will not file necessary documents or necessary petitions, or will not raise issues in the process. For us, what has happened is a diabolical judgment, and that is the position of our party. It's a diabolical judgment because it is totally strange to us, and we are waiting for the explanation that the Lord Justices are going to provide on how they arrive at this judgment.
Thank you for that clarification. But at the end of the day, what we have here is a situation where the Apex Court have taken a decision and they've given their judgment with regards to the Imo State's governorship elections. And that means that regardless of anything, there has to be a peaceful transition because a governor is going out now and a new governor is going in. What message would you put across as the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP with regards to ensuring that there is that peaceful transition? And I say this because Ihedioha seems to have been very popular in Imo State, regardless of the time that he served being very short. And this was after a very controversial political ruling by Okorocha that many people believed maybe could have slumped development, etc. And people were excited for this governor and everything that he had in store. So his ruling has been cut short, or his leadership has been cut short, and now they have a new governor coming in. So this may also get people quite riled up, and security is very important at this particular time. So what message would you put across with regards to that?
Well, this goes beyond the issue of Imo State, and it also goes beyond the issue of His Excellency Emeka Ihedioha. This is about Nigeria. It's about the People's Democratic Party. It's about democracy in our nation. We are worried in the People's Democratic Party because there are all sorts of things going around in the public space. We are hearing that they want to take all our states and using the Supreme Court to achieve this. We are hearing from people who should know and whom we should believe that the plot is to ensure that we are reduced to the barest number of states so that they are purported, they are proposed, they are working on the third-term game can come to pass. But I want to leave this message with President Muhammadu Buhari and the All Progressives Congress that's already fizzling with the people, that no matter what they do, that there's this Nigerian spirit that at the end of it all, something must give. And I want them to know that even with the process that they're undergoing now, that certainly something will give. So it goes beyond what we say about His Excellency Emeka Ihedioha. It goes beyond what we say to the people of Imo State. It addresses the context of our nation. It addresses the context of our democracy. That a one-party state is being forced on the people. People go into election and fight a war at elections. In the last election in Kogi State, what we witnessed was a war in a situation where helicopters were flown by police pilots and throwing tear gas and firing gunshots to the people who came out to perform their civic responsibilities. This happened in some other states where although helicopters were not used, but they had to combat the military, they had to combat the policemen to win an election. And after winning an election, you go and set up roadblock for them within the judiciary. After you have hugely compromised the INEC to always pander to the tunes of the ruling party. I do not think this is the democracy that President Muhammadu Buhari inherited. And we keep appealing to him to conduct his affairs within the context of the law and to ensure that his government functions within the context of the law. But it is rather unfortunate that today the judiciary has become a collabo, as we say in Nigeria, with the executive to ensure that democracy is wiped out of our nation. Well, I think this is the message that Nigerians should take away. But I'm gladding. But it gladdens my heart that wherever you go among Nigerians today, the question Nigerians are asking is how did the Supreme Court arrive at this decision? So the Supreme Court has a burden to explain to Nigerians. And I also think that Justice Tanko has a burden on what history will say about him.
Kola, well, I mean, let me ask you, has anybody in the PDP seen a copy of the Supreme Court ruling? And if you personally have seen it, have you read it? That's one. Two, you know, some of these things you said about the president, about the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, you know, many people will say, well, isn't this a case of the PDP sounding like a party of bad losers? Considering the fact that this same Supreme Court, in the matter of Zamfara, removed all APC elected persons and ordered that PDP, you know, candidates should take over. Now that the same Supreme Court has given a ruling that doesn't quite favor the PDP in Imo State, now you are accusing the judiciary of collaborating with some persons to derail the course of justice. Is that a fair thing to say?
Well, Dr. Abati, it is glaring even to you and to every Nigerian that in Zamfara State, APC did not conform with the rules. They had no primaries, and the rules are very clear. The Constitution is very clear on what happens to a party that do not conduct primary election. So I can clearly say that the Supreme Court did not do the People's Democratic Party any favor by allowing that the rules subsist. What we are saying in this matter, and you also asked me if we have read the judgment, and that's why I said earlier on that we await the explanation of the Lord Justices on how they arrive at this judgment. But what we are saying as a party is that it is strange that in a kind of a mathematical abracadabra, that you will leave the person who came second to say he has withdrawn his petition. The person who came third, and you carry judgment and you give it to the person who came. We do not understand. We are laymen, accepted. But they should come up with an explanation. But what we are saying is that we should remember the judgment of history. Yes, the Lord Justices can pass judgment. But they should also remember there's a judgment beyond theirs, which is the judgment of history. After which there is a judgment before the Almighty God. who created heaven and earth. And I am saying that we are worried as a party. We are concerned that there's a deliberate plot to reduce the number of states that we had won. So it is left for the Lord Justices to prove our disposition wrong in subsequent judgments.
Can I ask you this? Is it really left for them to prove your disposition wrong or to adjudicate on the facts presented before them? And also, on the 20th of January, some governors are going to find out their fate. There are 3 from your party, the PDP, Governor Tambuwal. You also have Governor Ortom and Governor Mohammed of Bauchi. But then there are also 2 APC governors whose fate hangs in the balance. That's Governor Ganduje and Governor Lalong. In case, or let's just imagine for a second, that the Supreme Court rules against an APC governor, will that not put a dent in your theory that APC is trying to take all the states that PDP has won?
Well, that sounds hypothetical to me. And in the People's Democratic Party, we work on the basis of facts. We work on the basis of what's available to us. Let them deliver their judgment. We will respond to the delivery of every judgment, if it suits and if it doesn't suit. But what we are saying is this. The Lord Justices are expected to address the canals of justice in their judgment. That's the position of the People's Democratic Party. Have we not lost cases? We have lost cases. Have we not won cases? We have won cases. But what we are saying, and you can go on the streets and ask Nigerians, you can ask that your correspondent go and do a voice populi, to go and do a voice pop on the street, and you get a feedback of what Nigerians are saying. It is straight. Even as I was coming up the stairs this morning in your station here, I heard what people were saying. How did they come about number 4? Winning an election. Even if you do a mental tabulation of 500 units multiply by 300, of a 500 votes multiply by 388 units, can the person of Hope Uzodinma in an election that was hotly contested by 5 or 6 heavy gladiators, can he alone take all the votes in those 388 units? Is that what we are saying? Is that what judgment has been reduced to? But like I said earlier on, Nigerians, not just the People's Democratic Party, are waiting to hear from the Lord Justices how they arrive at this judgment.
But what's also interesting here, and what I'd like to bring in, is how you feel towards INEC about this, because it seems as though INEC also had a role to play. It said that they actually went ahead and took the unanimous decision without the powers to do so to cancel the results that came in from 388 collation centers. So the problem here gets a bit wider, and it brings in the question of our entire system of voting, electoral reform, because I can't help but think if we were voting on a blockchain system, we wouldn't even be here having to discuss this problem to begin with. So what does this say about INEC, in your opinion?
Well, I don't have an opinion, but I have a position of the People's Democratic Party. In the opinion of the People's Democratic Party and in the disposition of the People's Democratic Party, we have canvassed and we have consistently declared and said that INEC under Professor Mahmoud Yakubu has been hugely compromised. What have we not said about INEC? And these are facts. And as INEC now, and I'm waiting to hear what the Lord Justices have to say about INEC in this circumstance. Have they not been formally disgraced by the highest law court of the land? Is it not strange that INEC will ask us to go and queue in the sun or in the rain, carrying our card readers, only for them to go ahead and allow manipulated results outside the card readers? And when you go to court to challenge the declaration of INEC on the ground that the figures that are being paraded does not tally with card readers, the court will tell you that the card readers
have no legal backing. Interrupt you here. Kola, I need to interrupt you here. We just need to take a quick commercial break, and then when we return, the conversation will continue. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Still with us in our Abuja studio is the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Kola Ologbondiyan, and he's been commenting on the Supreme Court ruling in the matter of the gubernatorial election in Imo State. Now, Kola, you were talking about INEC. I would like you to conclude your thoughts on INEC, but when you are done with that, I would also like to ask you, what is the mood in the PDP in terms of whether you can do anything about what the Supreme Court has done? Because the Supreme Court is the last court of resort. It's the apex court. What strategy do you intend to adopt? Wait patiently till 2023 in Imo State, or ask the Supreme Court for a judicial review, considering the fact that only the Supreme Court can reverse itself?
Well, as soon as we get the detail of the judgment, we'll weigh the options. And part of the options, which the hierarchy of the party discussed last night, was a possibility of asking for a review. But the party and our governor, His Excellency Ihedioha, has not come to a conclusion on the option that we can adopt. But having said that, like I stated earlier on, what is the essence of the candidate in our elections? When you go to court, the court will tell you it has no legal backing. We have called on President Muhammadu Buhari to resend the bill on electoral reforms as passed by the 8th National Assembly back to the National Assembly for a retooling to meet the exigencies of our elections today and to assent to that law. If in truth, he does not have any electoral interest after his tenure or after 2023. I think, and my own party believes, that he needs, above anything, to bring back what we had lost in electoral process since 2015 till today. He needs to replenish all those areas of our elections that have become a problem to us in Nigeria today. Particularly, you must remember, he came into office on the basis and on the strength of the card reader, which had become useless in our electoral process today. So these are the dispositions of the People's Democratic Party as elections are concerned.
Thank you. What is the position of the PDP on Amotekun? There's no need for me to rehash the limitations of the centrally controlled police force in Nigeria. Those of us who live here are painfully aware. Amotekun was viewed by a lot of people as an attempt to augment, to support the efforts of the police and the military in maintaining security. But the Attorney General of the Federation has apparently singled out 1 out of 23 state or regional security operations and labeled it as illegal. What is your take on all of that?
Well, for me, because this has not been discussed yet at the leadership of the party, I consider Amotekun as a child of necessity, and this is a personal opinion to me. And I am so aware that there are also neighborhood watches across the Federation. So I do not see anything wrong in having Amotekun, if that is the decision of the people of the Southwest to secure their land. This is a personal opinion, and I'm emphatic about it. It's my own view, not the view of the People's Democratic Party.
People's Democratic Party with regards to the response of the Attorney General of the Federation to Amotekun coming out to basically, like Tundun said, put it out against 23 other states that also have their own regional security outfits, let's say, and single it out to basically say that it's illegal and there are already security agencies that can provide for this. That's firstly. And then secondly, I just wanted to take you back on something to the start of this conversation where you said that what the PDP believes is that the Supreme Court and the APC are basically, in your words, having a judicial coup, you said, and putting a deliberate plot against you or the PDP to overtake the states that you rule. But recall in December, the Supreme Court upheld the ruling of Seyi Makinde or the elections of Seyi Makinde in Oyo State. So I'd like to ask that question again of does the viewpoint of the PDP really hold sustenance here?
Well, in what we are saying is that in the judgment on Imo State, we consider that judgment as a judiciary coup against the people of Nigeria and against the People's Democratic Party. Just as earlier said, ask your correspondent to go and do a vox pop on the streets and let them bring back the fillers. And I'm insisting that it is strange to Nigerians how number 4 became number 1 and number 1 has no space. It is strange. And we said that as a party, we are awaiting the reasons that will be advanced by the highest court in the land for this judgment. And I said that we have fears in our party that there's a collabo within the hierarchy of APC and the judiciary to take our states.
But they didn't take all your states.
That's the position of my party. That's the position of the People's Democratic Party.
But the same Supreme Court did not take Rivers State from the People's Democratic Party. And people bring up all of these diseases. But let's go.
Doctor,
please go ahead.
Dr. Abati, in Rivers State, Governor Wike won his election clean and square. And if the election holds 100 times, he will win. It's clear.
Well, but let's go beyond the moment. Is the People's Democratic Party, after the review of the last elections and judicial processes, already beginning to prepare for 2023 election, which will seem to be another major moment for the political parties and also for Nigerians? Are you already working out a strategy, or the party is just still busy with the moment? Any plans for 2023?
The party is working first on reforms and how to strengthen itself and its activities. And part of the reforms that the party is working on is to ensure an online registration, which is different from the manual that we operate. The party is also going to hold conferences on issues of national importance. The party is also going to constitute a committee, and I think within a couple of weeks, the committee membership will be announced, to look at issues in the last election, to develop a strategy on 2023 that you have asked. These are the areas that the party is working on as we speak currently, outside the electoral, outside the court issues.
Thank you. Does the PDP have a position on the finance bill, which has now been passed into law? The intention of the federal government is to generate revenue, improve the business environment, and support small to medium-sized enterprises. There have been plaudits, there have been criticisms. What's your position?
Well, the position of the PDP from the onset is that the federal government must not engage in any process that will further dehumanize Nigerians in terms of the economy. Well, from what I've read and from what I've heard so far, I learned or I heard that any business that does not have a cumulative of 25 million in what's it called, that they are not to be affected by new taxes. Well, I think that is welcoming. However, notwithstanding, the multitude of taxation in our economy is worrisome. And if you look at the APC government, the manner of borrowing of funds is also worrisome, because we cannot really see what they are deploying the funds to. We are aware that most of the projects that have near completion carried out by the People's Democratic Party the APC government will just go there, paint those edifices, and claim that they have spent money on them. All these are worrisome. But on the financial bill, the People's Democratic Party had demanded that there should be a safety net for the SMEs, and from what we have read so far, pending when the government begins to implement, I think the safety net has been created, and that's a welcome development.
Thank you for sharing the positions of the PDP with regards to these matters at hand right now. Before we round up the conversation, are there any other positions right now that the opposition party is taking that you would like to share with the public? Well, our major concern is that until President Muhammadu Buhari genuinely, and I mean very, very genuinely, overhaul the electoral process that is in practice since he came into government, we cannot find the future of elections in Nigeria. We truly cannot find the future of elections.
Well, on that
because
note,
the election that had been held. Yes, Dr. Abati?
No, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, because the elections that had been held after President Muhammadu Buhari, in his own words, won election through the use of technology. Those were his words. He was able to win because of technology, the card reader. Today, the card reader has no space in the election. Today, the card reader has become ineffectual in the election. And Professor Mahmoud Yakubu will come around and say that they are using it for administrative purposes. But it is the basis upon which elections are held. And when you challenge the card reader in the court, when you go to the court and say that, look, or you go to the tribunal and say, the card reader should be manifest in this matter because it's on the basis of that we had the election. The court tells you that it has no legal backing.
Well,
so
on that note, Kola Ologbondiyan,
of the electoral process.
On that note, we just have to thank you very much for coming to the morning show today. Thank you.
Thank you.